Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer and I'm playing 1854. Now, we have seen the first permanent trains come out last video. We're already in the 6 trains and actually all the cheap permanents are gone. The next ones are the 8 trains for 900, which isn't terribly expensive for a great train. It's actually pretty cheap. And there are also available now the Orient Express trains, these here for 1200 bucks. Now the Orient Express trains, already said that they can skip locations and only count the 8 best locations, and they also can enter Paris and Constantinople, and Paris is the most valuable location of the whole board. And the other trains cannot enter these 2 cities. Now, this player here could have dumped the company last turn on the Südbahn on him. That would have been possible, and that would probably have ended the game because then, yeah, he would have gone broke. The problem is that this player here is possibly in a better position. He has right here about 900 bucks, and he is only about, no, it's hard to, well, it's very close. Maybe at the moment, maybe this changed. It's hard to tell. I mean, right now, he seems to be also doing very well because he swallowed twice. And so, yeah, I think that it's hard to tell. Maybe a dump would have been an interesting choice now after that swallow, but I didn't do it. And right now it's hard to tell who's in a better position. Actually, maybe this player might still be, because he's got now about 500 bucks in his companies and he's got pretty much the same amount of money as this guy does. However, he has more shares. That's an important aspect. He has clearly more shares. He holds I think 15 shares or something like, not quite, there was a share split, so that was about 10 shares. Let's see, so he still holds 13 shares while this guy only holds 10. So I think he is now in a better position from when it comes to cash and all, but he's got more money in the companies. Okay, so we're at the end of the stock round. Not too much interesting happened. These 2 players here basically tried to get as much money as possible into their companies that had a split share. So they bought all these 10% certificates, and there's a lot of money now, especially in his companies. The Vorarlberger has about nearly 500 bucks, and this one is pretty much at the same. So I think together they have kind of like 950 or something, which is a lot of money. Even more, I think, 900, I'm not sure, but they have a lot. Now, in addition to that, they're going to get the income from the mail contract. So if only one of them swallows once, they can afford an Orient Express. Is it worth it? That's a tough choice, but it might be. Basically, they only have to try to build some kind of some kind of a route which covers a ton of area. It's not easy to do that. You need more money with the terrain and all. Basically, I know, you kind of have to make sure this becomes gray, and then you gotta kind of like, it's not easy. I don't know if it's worth doing this, but it might be. So yeah, it's a tough choice. I don't really know. The good thing is that there is this constant flow of income, 50 now per company, and in the next turn it's going to be 60, not in the next turn, but once these are out it's going to be 60, and that will also allow you to pay terrain cost and all without swallowing, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, it might be actually worth buying the Orient Express. I think we're going to see that here, especially because this player his personality is more of this kind of long-term thinker. He's not that greedy, so he is absolutely willing to swallow once or twice to then really come back. And I have a feeling that in this game, I already said that, this is okay to do because the jumps toward the end of the game are not that high, you know. I mean, especially in this area where we probably will end up. Here you have 25, but we're not gonna get there. But here it's only about 15, and you know, it's not that much as in some other games where you have jumps of 50 or something. One more thing before we go into the next operating round. I mean, these guys are clearly behind. They have very little money left, and they're also not at the certificate limit. This guy here has 500 bucks left, 550 bucks. He is at the certificate limit. He has, well, these are 6 shares. These are 6 shares, so he's at 12, 14, 15. And no, that's not, well, we don't count that. So let's say it's, so he is at 14 shares right now. And this guy here has 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, but then he's got these. That's another 8, so he has 19 shares basically, but he only has 150 bucks left. So yeah, I see him clearly in the advantage, especially with all the money that he has in his companies. Okay, so actually I realized that this one here is sold out, so maybe someone thinks about selling that again. You know, this guy has priority, so I think he's gonna sell that because in the end it doesn't help him. He's just gonna lose a share right away because this would go up. So I think he's going to sell that again, which means this will drop here and he's going to buy something else instead. Win the operating round, and this guy here, he has actually a chance. He could buy an Orient Express train. He has so much money. He's got in here 600 bucks, same amount in here. It's enough for an Orient Express train. So if he buys the 5 train over, the 4 Alberga, for example, could afford an Orient Express. Is that reasonable? Well, in general, it's obviously not bad, but there's an interesting alternative. If he swallows with each of these once, he can instead buy 2 8 trains. Because he has a massive additional income from these 2 mail contract, a single swallow should be good enough. And yeah, then he can afford 2 8 trains. And then he has in one company a 5 and an 8 train, and in the other company an 8 train. I think it's more valuable than having a 5 and an Orient Express. The Orient Express would be interesting if you really have that massive connection between Paris and Constantinople and taking Wien. You're making a lot of money. Maybe, I don't think you make more than with 2 8 trains though. But apart from that, it's extremely hard to get that connection. It's not that hard to build it, but it's extremely hard to keep it unblocked. Especially with the miners here who only have to pay 40 bucks, you know, they can block this tile, they can block this tile. Then how do you get to Wien? You got to go around all that somehow. And you know, we have still this issue here. We can build around that, and I'm working on it. And then you got, you know, if other people are trying to stop you, they might try to close this for you. I mean, come on, it's just not going to work out anymore. If this is closed, it's basically impossible to make that big run. So I think it takes a lot of planning in advance, and you got to be really good, and you probably want to control 3 companies to make that work. If that's not the case, I think it's very hard. If I couldn't afford 2 8 trains, I would obviously go for it. But you know, the two 8s are really close, and so therefore I'm going to decide to go for them instead. I think that makes more sense. So maybe with his hope to get 2 8 trains, he might have messed it up. It might not be possible. So in the end, yeah, now he's in trouble, because what we see here is he now forces it. He swallowed here $160, buys the train over for 275, the 4 train, and now so this drops, and now he's gonna buy an 8 with these guys. He's gonna do an emergency purchase, I guess, but so he gets $50 for the mail contract. But that is still a good situation. It will kick these guys out, all the 4 trains, and it will bring him actually in some trouble, because he's gonna lose now a couple of runs. He was hoping for the big one, for the big coup, but it didn't work out. He's probably gonna end up with an 8 Orient Express. I don't think he can get two 8s. I don't think he can do that now, because he will now have only a single train left. That's probably not going to work out. Except that he's going to say, okay, fuck it, I'm going to pay for that myself a lot. And, you know, that is an option. You could say, okay, maybe I'm going to, I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's still within reach. It might be possible. So let's see. We have now here, yeah, that's the company that operates next. It's the Kaiser Franz Josef Bahn. So first they can lay a tile, and they're gonna lay this one here, just like that. That was locked all the time on the small board. Okay, so now we cannot run because we don't have a train. So let's see how much money there is. Quite a bit. That might be enough. Maybe it's enough for a big one. Maybe it's enough for an 8 train. It looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 500. Maybe it's probably not quite enough. 500, 600, 7. We got about 800 in here, so I got to spend 100 from my own money, and then we got an 8 train in there, and I think that's cool. Okay, so we are in gray. That's the next big thing here. That means this company is without a train. Oh gosh, I don't know, man, that isn't looking good at all. Wow, he's gonna sell pretty much everything he has. Maybe he can survive it, but I wouldn't be so sure about it. We'll see pretty soon, I guess. This company has only 1 train left, but they're okay. I mean, he's got so much money. For him, it's not a big deal, but it's annoying, right? He was really hoping for more. And he also loses 1. But I think overall that could have been a good thing. Now, what would have been weird is if he goes now bankrupt. I haven't considered that. It is possible, I don't know how much, that he will actually win. We'll see how likely that is. So we'll see now first the red company operate right here. And we can now lay gray tiles. That's a big deal because that means that this one will not open up. Oh boy, that was a really bad turn for him. So he now does a real dicky move. He exchanges that for the so much desired gray one. You know, it saves everybody here and everybody can move through that. But he just says, no way I'm going to do that. I'm going to place the gray one here and I'm fine. You know, I control this space, I control that space. I make the 10 more bucks here. So for me, it's just good. It's just good to have it there. And then he runs a 6 train, pretty good for 6, 10, 15, 19, 22, 27. That is really a solid run. And of course he still has, he might even swallow that. The thing is, he holds 80% of the company. So he might even considering swallow that. I don't know if that helps him a lot, probably not, but you know, he might even considering that, and then maybe he can even buy a second train. One day, if it will go on for that. On the other hand, if this guy goes bankrupt, maybe paying out is the better option. I don't know, it's hard to tell. Well, I think he's not going to go bankrupt. If he sells pretty much everything, he's going to survive. But it's going to probably get to that point. So, you know, actually I think I'm going to swallow here because in this way it goes back and then I can pay out twice. And I think it will be an advantage for me to do it like this. So I'm going to get the 270 in my company. Oh, and I forgot the 30 bucks, or the 40 bucks actually, for the mail run. Okay. And the value drops, but as I said, I have now the chance to keep these 4 shares for another 2 operating rounds, and I think that is a good idea. So the Kronprinz Rudolf Bahn is fucked. There's no other word for that. They got 80 bucks. So he's got to pay 820 to get a train in there. Right now he's sitting on about 50 bucks. Oh boy. So that means he's got to sell shares like crazy. And this is the worst thing that can happen, right? That if you are in this situation at the start of a set of operating rounds, you're going to have no income and you're just totally hosed. Okay, I mean, he's not going to be able to sell the presidency, of course. Same here. So all he can do is he can start selling this stuff. Let's see. I mean, this is... The Salzburger makes good money. Let's see. Definitely gonna sell the Kärntner. I don't know what to do, man. Yeah, let's sell the Kärntner. Do I want to sell my own company? Hard to tell. There's still no... The problem is both of these companies didn't get over the split share point. So that's why he is in such a bad shape, because the companies simply don't have any money. They couldn't generate additional money. Okay, so it seems like, yeah, now I got enough. I'm holding my Lokalbahn, 60% of this, of the Nordtiroler, and 40% of the Kronprinz Rudolf. So, well, I managed to avoid the bankruptcy. Still have about, I don't know, I could have sold this one and that one. So I had about 200 bucks left. If it would have been, yeah, so Okay, no bankruptcy here, but of course it's a terrible situation, and we got to buy this one here now, and there we go. Oh boy. And the crazy thing is, I got two companies, and both of them are still below the share split. That's pretty crazy if you think about it. And by the way, the Salzburger too, and what happened now is that there were a couple of, because of all these forced sells now, the Salzburger dropped away further from the share split. So did the Kärntner. He planned to have a share split next turn, or at the end of this OR. Well, that's not going to happen, because now it dropped from here down to here, and now he's going to not make it anymore. So that is pretty crazy. And yeah, weird situation. But maybe it's not so bad for some of these companies. He can hold up to 100%. So he's holding 80 here. That's not so bad. It's an interesting. He has now a massive share density, probably for the rest of the game. I don't know. Maybe eventually this will go up. I'm not sure how many ORs we're going to see. But yeah, probably another set after this one, I guess. So the Nordtiroler, they placed a gray tile here that helps them, but it will also make it possible eventually to make a connection maybe here with the König Rudolf Bahn. And so then they might have a chance to make a pretty good run with their 8 train, which is now seems pretty pointless here. And the C company also operated, and they bought a single 2 train. Now their goal is to swallow a second time, and then they could have bought 1 3 train, but they didn't want to do that. They want to swallow again and then buy a second 2 train, and then they can at least operate this route twice, or once here, once here. They will not make it to Wien, but if they do something like that, they're going to run for 160, which is pretty good, I think. And sadly, they don't get a gray tire. That was a little unlucky. Now, these are the only 2 gray non-Wien tiles in the game. It's kind of funny that they're sitting here in the center and not at least one of them here. Usually, I always saw at least one of them here. Okay, and so then it's now company A, and they're going to upgrade Wien now. So as we can see here, there is still 1 free space in Wien. So they run a train for quite a bit of money. They can actually go to Pressburg here, which is really cool. So they run also for 160 bucks. That's 110 and another 50. Now, actually, I'm also going to swallow that. That's 160. Yeah, we'll swallow that money and buy me also a 2 train. That will give me a ton of money in the follow-up runs. The share value is not really important for these companies. It's the revenue that is great, because with 2 certificates you're making 100%. So that is just really, really valuable. And by the way, as long as they're here, they actually do not count against certificate limit. So we might actually even consider swallowing again, keeping them back here, and then we can have 2 additional certificates at the end of the at the end of the next turn, or at the end of the next stock round. And in addition to that, we might even, I mean, let's see, how much is a 4 train? A 4 train would be $350. That's a lot. But I make 160 now. I still got $35 in here. So if I swallow twice, I'm gonna have enough money to buy a 4 train. Why would that be so awesome? It would be awesome because it would really fuck up these 2 other companies which already bought a 2 train. That's the thing now, because then these 2 trains will rust. So, I think I'm actually gonna, I probably will even swallow twice, invest in a 4 train, and then make massive money doing that last set of ORs. And I also will hold 2 additional shares. I think that's a really good idea for me. So it's $160 here that go into the company. So it seems like they're gonna have to go through a 4th train purchase too. So he does not have to buy a train for these guys, but only for that. He realizes now, obviously, oh my god, these guys are going for 4 train, so I'm gonna have to buy them probably a 3 train. But because I own 100%, I might as well pay out. It doesn't really make a big difference. Certificate limit is not an issue for me too, because I'm nearly broke. So I'm gonna pay out, and that will then allow me at least to get another run with a 2 train before it will rust. So maybe that's to my advantage. So I run for 80. That's not that impressive, but sadly I'm cut off from Wien, and yeah, it's just not the same thing anymore here. So, and I'm gonna pay out. As I said, I have no money anyway, and I own 100%. So for me, swallowing makes no sense if the 2 will go away anyway. Okay, now this is it for this OR. So in the second OR, the SD already operated. Now we come to the KE. The KE has no train at the moment. So the share value will drop. And now this player has a big choice to make. He can either decide to buy the 5 train over here, and then there's enough money in here to buy an Orient Express. The 4 Eilberger has an Orient Express, then there would be still more money in there, about $150 or so, which would allow them to build some terrain here, and probably eventually they might be even able to run this route, right? I mean, here you can do it. It takes about 2 tile lays to get to here, and then with these guys, it's kind of like another 2 or 3 tile lays. So it will take a little, but eventually it will be possible. If we build a tunnel here, we have a good income of $60 from the mail contracts, so we can afford the terrain here, and it should be possible that maybe in the next operating round we could even do a full Orient Express run. So it is an option. It would make sense. The other thing is that we buy 2 8 trains out of pocket. I mean, not completely. So we have here about 700 bucks. An A train is 900 bucks. So I could buy now. It's not that easy. I thought I could buy I thought I could buy that train and then buy the 5 train over, and then I could do an emergency financing here, but it's not that simple. It's getting more and more complicated. The basic idea was to, but then there's no more money obviously here because I have to spend everything. Then this company is broke and it doesn't have a single buck to buy this train over. So, I think I'm gonna go with the Orient Express train. I think that makes more sense. So, let's see, just gotta make sure which way I want to do that. It kind of sucks because I have to buy the train up. Yeah, that's... Okay, I paid about, I don't know, 600 and something, 650 or so for this train, for the 5 train into here. So this company will end the game with a 5 train, so not 2 massive trains. And here I'm gonna buy now the Orient Express. Otherwise it's getting too complicated, I think. So now it's the Vorarlberger, and it also cannot run. So, but now I got the money to buy for 1,200 bucks. But what I can do is, of course, I can lay a tile, and this is now the important thing. So I cannot lay a straight tile here to get to this space, because the tunnels, the entrance of a tunnel can never touch basically the track, right? So what I gotta do is, and I'm also not allowed to lay a second tunnel here from what I understand. I can only lay a tunnel like this, but they're not allowed to cross or touch each other somehow. So what I can do is I can lay this tile so that the tunnel goes like this. So that is okay, because the endings, they don't touch each other. So we can do it like this, and then I gotta lay another tile to go back here. So that all takes its time, and there is no tunnel that goes like this. You cannot build a tunnel like this. So you only have the gentle curves or a straight, and straight is no longer available. There is a tile limitations for the tunnels, and you only have 4 of each type, I think. Or maybe 5 gentle curves. Oh no, actually there is one more straight. 5 of each type. Okay. But it doesn't help anyway. So we gotta do it like this, and that costs me 70 bucks. Boy, this is expensive, but okay. And now I'm gonna spend the 1,200 for an Orient Express. Incredible. I don't know if I ever did that in this game. I've seen it happen from somebody else, but I think I never made it myself. So there it is, the Orient Express. Pretty cool. But right now it only helps us a little. I mean, at least next time we can run from Brenner to Paris. That is already pretty good. But it's not, of course, we're still far away from the big run to Constantinople. If we can do that once or twice, I think we can be happy. But at least we can now make serious money with these guys. And it doesn't help a lot to save the 200 bucks or the 300 bucks, right? I mean, we simply had the money to buy the train, so we might as well do it. And if we can do 1 or 2 of these massive runs, that's even better. Okay, so we're playing through the OR. not too much interesting is happening. Some of the, for example, this guy, the Kärntner, could only run the 5 train as a 4 train. Everything else didn't really help. Just like basically 1, 2, 3, 4. That's really bad. The Franz Josef Bahn also could only run the 8 train as a 7, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that was only about 260 or something. We had these greens, the dot here, not too great. Now we have the first run over 300 with the Kronprinz Rudolf Bahn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That is a run of 431. Now we're going to have that east-west connection pretty soon, and then we might see a couple of higher runs. So the A, the Lokalbahn A, they swallowed the $160, and now they can buy a 4 train. At least I think so. Yeah, they can afford a 4 train. That train will cost them, let's see, it's $350. Do they have that? That's 325. Yep. 30, 40, 50. There we go. They buy a 4 train. They can have up to 2 trains. And that's bad news for the other locals. They lose their 2 trains. And that means also emergency financing for both of them. And all the 2 trains, even the scrapped 2 trains, now rust a second time. And yeah, no more 2 trains for the rest of the game now. And this company is going to make a ton of money. The question is a little bit for him. The company is now in yellow, but if he pays out, it won't be in yellow anymore. So the question is, will he swallow even once more and bring it down here, and then you can hold 2 additional shares, and it might actually be worth it. I mean, he loses $160, but he can get 2 more shares. I got to calculate that a little bit, but usually that might be a good idea. But we already swallowed twice with these guys, so maybe even 3 times. I'm not sure anymore. No, I think we swallowed twice to get the 4 train and screw everybody else. But now this is a big money machine, and share value with these guys is usually not that important because it's just 2 shares, so it's not a big deal. It's all about the income. Okay, so let's go into the last OR here of this set, and we start again with the Südbahn. And I'm going to do most things off camera, although we might now see an Orient Express run actually. So this is still free. What's more important though, because you can always go like this and then make a connection here somehow, this is still free, and so is Wien. But we're not quite done yet. We got to make a connection here. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So the KE, which is also under the control of the Vorarlberger owner who has that Orient Express, they did now this connection here, which is really valuable. And now well, first they can also run now basically like this, which is kind of cool for them. But we're going to see a token from the Vorarlberger guy here probably, because this is such an important location. And then this will be blocked again. But okay, so but right now you can run 1, 2, 3, maybe actually, yeah, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so that's 80, 110, 180, 230 for the Kaiserin Elisabethbahn. And now it's the big moment for this guy here. So he's got to spend 50 bucks for terrain. It's going to be this one. Oh boy, and now finally he is connected with the eastern parts of the map. You know, he couldn't, this is such a bad block, and the tunnel and all, you know, the combination is horrible. It really took him all the way down here. That was all terrain cost. It was so expensive for him. And now what's even more important, he's got 40 bucks left. So he spends 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks. And that's enough for a token. And that allows him now to place this super important token here. So this is now open. I mean, it would have been possible if someone else would have gone in here to kind of move around, but it would have been, again, so hard, and he would have lost so much time. I mean, still, there is this empty space in Wien, which kind of sucks, and somebody else could place a token there, and then he would lose a lot of money. And he also did not make it here. He wants to go to Constantinople eventually. And, you know, actually, I did do a tile action here. It makes no sense to do it like this. It's much more reasonable to do it over here. I did it with the KE. Yeah, with the KE, I did a tile action like that from here. I was kind of... I was in fear that someone would place a tile here. But, you know, you can still do that later, probably. If people don't mess around with that. Maybe just to be sure. Let's do it like this for now. We can do the other thing later. I don't want to... Oops. I don't want anybody... If someone places a token here, and then, you know, it is possible to destroy this option here, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to allow that at all. I want to be absolutely safe that I got this connection, and I do have that now. So now I can have a massive run. I can start here in Zurich, go this way here. It's not that big, but it's pretty good. We have 8. So I can go to Paris actually now. Absolutely. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can skip this. 6, 7, 8 to Pressburg. So yeah, that's what I do. I can go through Wien to Pressburg. So let's see. That's 90, 140. That's 170, that's number 3. These two are number 4 and 5, and we're at 270. Number 6 is that, which brings me to 310. Number 7 is then 380. And then we go here, and we are at 430. Okay, that's a pretty good run. I mean, compared to other games, it's not super impressive, but it is still pretty good. And if we can make it down here to Constantinople, I'm pretty sure we're going to get more than 500. So for now, it's 430, and that's just great. Now, this is really a brutal point. This is totally blocked. You cannot upgrade the dots, so you cannot upgrade this. You could try to build somehow through here and then around here, which is long and expensive. Build a tile like this down here, and then you have, the problem is you have another tunnel here. So you could lay a straight here or go here, right? Here it is also blocked. So I mean, the only theoretical way basically is I mean, probably the simplest way is actually to go from here simply all the way through there. But that is ridiculous expensive. So this is, yeah, that was really lucky for the VB that they exactly had the money left for their token here. And some other players are really pissed about that. For example, I mean, it's not that bad. Most of the players are okay. They are not too much stuck. It's a bit of the Franz Josef. They managed to run now from Venedig here, and then they made away 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But they ran for 29 bucks with an 8 train. They only hit green cities except for Wien. They will be able to upgrade this to another green city, but still, you know, it's only green cities, a dot. Okay, they hit Venedig and Pressburg, but it's so poor for an 8 train. But everything else is impossible. Also here, you cannot build like this or something, because from what I understand, tunnels are not allowed to kind of cross each other. And you cannot lay a standard tile here. So this thing is blocked forever. It's really horrible. He could try to build up here or something, but this is just ridiculous. So that is a very important point here. Look what happened. The Nordtiroler managed to cross the threshold. We get a share split here, and yeah, the guy who had to buy the 8 out of pocket because he couldn't get any of his companies across that border, he now finally made it. So we get a share split here now that also rises the limit a little bit, and he will now, I mean, the question is, does he even want to do it? Probably. I don't know. I mean, he's holding at the moment, he could gain up to, he's holding so little shares. Yeah, why not? I think he's going to do it. It doesn't hurt, and I don't know. He will get a lot of money for that. So yeah, I think he's going to do it. It's the Kronprinz Rudolfbahn, and they can now make a really good run. They have an 8 train. They also have this massive connection here. They cannot go through here. That kind of sucks. And of course they cannot go to Paris. But still, you know, I mean, they might consider an upgrade here, and maybe eventually they can go to the Brenner. So I think I want to do that. Come up with something like this, I guess. Yep. There we are. And then we can basically run from here, I guess. I might even go through from the Brenner. I think that might give me a little more. 1, 2, 3. This is not a stop, but that costs me 10 bucks taxes because I got to go to Germany. But I think I still make 10 more than I'm starting here. So 1, 2, 3. I got to take that one. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's a pretty good run. So let's see. That's 150, including this. That's 160, 200, 240, 310, 360. That's really good. So now we come to the local companies. And by the way, the Salzburger Bahn here is running from Brenner to Zurich, the 6 train for a solid 280 bucks. And now we come to the local companies and we see there is no train in there. Damn. So that means we got another emergency financing here. So it's not good. This guy, he already purchased the 8 train. What's kind of interesting, he actually has a ton of money now. I mean, okay, he got 300 for the share split, but you know, he made a lot of money. He's sitting here on overall, I don't know, kind of like 800 or something. And I find that hard to believe. I might have made a mistake here, but it's really odd. But, you know, I mean, he ran these 2 companies, each one twice. It's weird. But he ran also the local twice. And I think the local made 80. So that gave him already 160. And then he made some good money with these. But it's a little, I don't know if that is all right. But, I mean, come on. I'm playing solo here. But I think it looks a little suspicious. Anyway, the guy has to pay. And he has to pay for a 3 train. A scrapped 3 train, which is 230 bucks. So it's basically, I think the company had about 30. So, yeah, another hit for him. But I mean, yeah, he's out of the game anyway. So, but he can still. He's not. I mean, he won't win, but he still has a couple of bucks left to play around with. And then, so that was the B. And then we have the C. And they are in exactly the same position, but they already kind of anticipated that. And because the guy doesn't own 100%, but only 50%, he said, hey, I'm going to swallow. Because then it matters, right? He would basically pay out the other guy too, but he is alone in buying the train. So therefore, he swallowed, and he now also has to buy a train for 230. That's not exactly great, but okay. That's another 2 train here, a 3 train. Okay, and now, and I think did I move them already? I don't think so, actually. I'm not sure. So I think they're sitting down here now. Hope I didn't mess this up. And now it is the A, and they are making now a lot of money. The A can run the 4 train like this and the 3 train down here. That's just crazy. So they run here for 120. That's 160. And that's 230, 260, 310. Holy crap. 310 bucks, and he gets 100% of that. That's incredible. So the question is now, he could swallow that and keep the A in the yellow zone. But hey, I mean, that's 310 bucks. I don't think I want to swallow that. I think I'm gonna pay that out. This is so much money. I'm gonna pay that out. And the share value rises. So there we go. Okay. And this is then the end of this set of ORs. Okay, now if we take a look now at the cash that everybody has, it's interesting because they all have about the same, about $1,000. I think this guy has maybe 200 more or so. He might have 200 bucks more, but everybody else is sitting at about 1,000. I think he might have maybe 900 or so. So that was really interesting. When it comes to shares, it's a little different. I mean, we have this guy here has 8 shares, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 shares, and of course the Lokalbahn. which is a massive money maker. Okay, this guy is out of the game. He only holds, that's 7 shares. Okay. What about him? Well, that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. He is also at 14 shares. Yeah, okay, that kind of explains it, right? And I was surprised that he has so much money, but you know, he was kind of juggling trains a little bit. I think he was swallowing and so on, and he pretty much paid out constantly, right? He only had to buy the 6th train for, I don't know, $500, and that's pretty much it. He swallowed with the Lokalbahn though. That's the difference. But he also had income from other shares. He is 20% in the Vorarlberger, 20% in the Südbahn, and so on. So he was doing good. And down here, this guy, he's also sitting on about 1,000. He has 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 15, I mean, he's sitting on 19 shares. That's a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, that's a big difference. I mean, this guy is sitting on 14. He's sitting on 19 shares. That's a massive difference. So, and he also holds the most valuable company with the Südbahn, 115. But the differences here are not that big, right? I mean, this thing is 115, and then this one is 97, 95. So there's only $20 difference. So it's not that terrible. But it's interesting that he, yeah, the share density is really an issue here. So, but this is now his problem. If he holds on to the KT shares, you know, they will split when he pays out one more time. And that's a bad timing. So he might have to swallow once, maybe even twice, to hold on to that share density. That could be awesome then. You might consider doing that. So yeah, a couple of interesting things. It's not, I wouldn't say it's over yet. It looks like this guy down here is in an advantage, but we'll see how much the Orient Express can do, you know, how much money he can generate with that. He holds 60% of the company, so there he is fine. But will it be enough? Or will simply this share density that he has here, will that give him the advantage? But yeah, the problem is, if you want to hold that, he's got to swallow 2 times next turn. I mean, wait a minute. He's sitting here. If he swallows once, and then, no, he could do it. He could swallow once and then pay out twice, and then he's going to be okay. So yeah, that's probably what we're going to see. If the bank breaks next turn, which I assume it will. Okay, so for now I'm gonna load this up, and yeah, hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.